Hello. Welcome to this live edition of Road Trip and Game of the Week recap. We're going to break down Mavs Wolves, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, Kendrick Perkins. I'm Allie Clifton. Perk, where are you?
In the back of a squad car.
Shannon, you finally got your background together, right?
Yeah. I'm in that new hotel.
What
No. It gets fuzzy. That ain't a real background. That gets fuzzy real quick. Watch his ears start floating.
Get out of here. Mind your business.
Alex, some of us have responsibilities, right? Okay. And one of my responsibilities is that I'm going to jump on with you guys no matter what. Okay. I leave at 5 a.m, headed to LA, and my sons, they had a little extended workout with their trainer. So I'm outside the gym while they get their work in, but I wouldn't miss this for the world. You know what I mean? So I got to get it in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before I take off on Wednesday and be gone for 3.5 days. You know what I'm saying? It's part of it.
Dad of the year. I love
We're in the gym too. But
we're talking about that.
Yeah. Wait, you know, like me and Channing can hear you when you call Perk Dad of the Year, right?
My kids are at the gym too. I just scheduled them to not be there from 8 to 9.
I am just glad to know that you guys are listening to me in this moment.
You're welcome. So finally.
Called Perk Dad of the Year. Okay, well, we are glad to have you, Perk, wherever you come from. What a game, guys. Mavs, Wolves. Obviously, those of you that are joining us throughout the chat, please feel free to engage. We got you. We'll be with you for the next 30, 45 minutes, breaking down this one and some others around the league. 121-14 on the road for Dallas. They get the W. You got 37 from Ant, though just 13. How about this over the final 3 quarters? On 4 of 10 shooting from the field, 4 turnovers. Luka and Kyrie combined for 59. Channing, let's start with you. What'd you see?
Man, where do I start? One, both these teams need to find their identity defensively. They are garbage. Teams are garbage defensively, and it is wild to see. And yes, Luka's good, and yes, Ant is good, but they go on these wild runs. There was a play where, like, I think PJ Washington just did a double down curl and got a wide open layup, and everyone's looking at each other.
You mean, are you talking about the dunk, the lob?
Yeah, the lob. And I was just like, are y'all not playing defense?
They're not locked in, but it was a back screen from Clay, and you can't leave Clay, so it was not. There's no communication. So
right.
I'm just saying on that, you can see the lack of communication to your point. Yeah.
2, and I said this, and I'll say it again. Kyrie had a great game, and he's a little, and this is me saying this, it's going to be a hot take. Kyrie's one-on-one is not as fast as it was last year, and he is not getting by guys as good as he was last year. If you look at his shots, most of his shots are pull-up jumpers or crossovers, standstill jumpers, or off a play, which I appreciate his skill set, but it is kind of wild to see Kyrie with people staying in front of him. Thirdly, Luka got to try on defense. He got to just try a little bit, dog. It irks me to no end that he doesn't even try. He'll point like somebody would do a curl, and they're like, y'all go get him, and he'll just run to the next guy. And they're not going to win like that. You got to practice this now. But other than that, it was a great game. That was me being nitpicky.
Yeah.
Perk?
Yeah. Well, Shannon, I disagree with you all across the board. And as a guy, and as a player that hooped for 10 plus years, you know better, okay? You know better, all right? And here's why you know better. For the simple fact, we're talking about game 4, okay? Game 4. Game 5. We're not
should
even
be fresh.
Hold on. No, that's not true. That's not true. Some guys come into training camp in shape. Some guys use training camp and the first 10 games to actually get their legs up under them. So with Kyrie Irving, let's have this conversation when we get like in the middle of the season and see what it look like. That's just fact. Cool. Luka, defensively, is always going to be a liability. That's why you got to have Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively to be at their best. This is why most likely if they happen to meet up with the Boston Celtics, it's gonna be a gentleman's sweep again. Now to the game. What it showed me though is that in order to beat the Mavs, you gotta have so much offensive firepower, right? Like Anthony Edwards goes off for 37. He goes off for 24 in the first half. Julius Randle played pretty damn good until he got injured. They put up some points, still wasn't enough. Who is that third option? Look at the Dallas Mavericks last game that they lost against the Phoenix Suns. A lot of firepower offensively. Luka still, 2 games ago, Luka had 40, they still lost. You got to have offensive firepower, a lot of offensive firepower to beat the Dallas Mavericks. Julius Randle looks comfortable. I still think that at best, the Minnesota Timberwolves ceiling is a second round exit. Just being honest with you. I don't see them really making like any noise Western Conference Finals, and I love Anthony Edwards. I'm wondering though, at what point is Coach Finch going to go to the bench and go to the young fella Rob Dillingham? Like go to him and at least try him out, right? Like I feel like they need that spark off the bench. No knock to anybody that's coming in. Mike Conley, right? He's starting. I get it. But when Anthony Edwards goes out, you cannot depend on like Naz Reid, although Naz Reid is a bucket. You need a guy that can create for himself, not a guy that you got to run plays for, facilitate for. Naz Reid has gotten better at taking you off the dribble. All in all, I think it was a competitive game. I think this is going to be one of the best seasons that we've seen in probably the last 10 years when it comes down to having to strap your boots up every fucking night. It's going to be so hard to win the NBA, but that's my takeaways from tonight.
Hey, Perk, James Parr said you're looking cute tonight. So
No,
that's
what? Somebody said, "Are you in the drive-through?"
Okay, wait, Perk. I want to touch on the Dillingham.
Oh.
I'm gonna be really honest. I haven't seen a top 10 pick get no tick in a long time.
There we go.
And I haven't seen a top 10 pick, and they thought like, okay, we're gonna lose this. We're gonna lose Karl Anthony Towns. We're gonna add Julius Randle. Then we're gonna get a young, fast guard with a top 10 pick. How many times does a team that goes to the conference final also get a top 10 pick? Yeah, it's always shining like a honey bun. But what I'm saying, think about it. Like, how many teams don't even play him? Now, there's 2 things behind this. One, man, where did they mess up the pick? Is he not picking things up? But sometimes it's just like you got to give the kid an opportunity. But if we're going to talk about these bad boys, look, I like Dallas. I like Minnesota. When I've looked across the league, you look at Denver, they look not as what they were last year and the year before. Had a tough one against Brooklyn, won in overtime. Then you look at across the board, OKC looks very, very good. They look young. Chet looks like he took a jump. But like Minnesota and Dallas, I feel like they're in the mix. If I were to have to pick a team, it would be Dallas. They have a more complete roster. They have multiple go-get-it scorers that do it within the system. Added Clay. They got the bigs, the defense. Dallas looks really good. So far from the teams that I've seen, it's been OKC and Dallas look like the 2 best that in the West that I have seen so far.
Whoa, hold on now.
Who? OKC.
Hold on. Whoa.
Oh, I said OKC and Dallas so far from what I have seen look like the 2 best in 4 games, bro. In 4 games. Let's everyone calm down.
This is a hot day. I'm coming in spicy.
Wait.
I got a water bottle.
Whoa.
The Lakers look good.
No, the Lakers, guys. The Lakers look very, very good.
Very good.
I'm not disputing that. I did their game against the Suns. They look good. Watched their game last night. They look good. Looking good at game 5 versus looking good at game 55 and 75. Of the teams that I've seen thus far in the Western Conference, Lakers look like a playoff team. I'm talking about teams that I feel can go just past the second round, like Perk said, like Minnesota. If you told me Lakers went to the second round, cool. You told me Lakers went to I just don't know if they have enough. I don't know. Maybe they will at the end of the year.
Before we get on to any kind of Laker talk, I do want to ask you guys, because you were after the first game when we did this, you guys were hard on Julius, or I think it was just our recording in general.
No, I was Channing. That was only Channing.
Channing.
Wait, what did I say?
Hard on. It was in the recording. It was, who are you, Hendricks?
This guy.
Who?
What up, Hendrick? Why is he a ghost?
Mini
No,
large.
hold on. I'll make it trashy. Look at that.
Ew, there he goes. What up, Hendrick?
Yeah, Halloween. Look, he just got
What up,
done.
Hendrick?
He just got done.
Aww.
Dude, love that guy.
Embarrass me.
Fun fact about Channing: when he gets emotional and in his feels, he likes to put his fingers in people's faces.
Wow. That,
it's true.
like, I like to do this. I like to do
Yes.
this.
See,
Sorry.
thank you. He likes to, yeah.
Hendricks, get out of here.
See, thank you,
We're
Hendricks.
live.
Your thoughts on Julius? Again, it's only been 4 games, but we had a lot to say, I feel like, about Julius after game 1 against the Lakers. He has looked better against more comfortable versus Sacramento, Toronto. What you saw from Julius tonight, 27 and 7, 3 for 3 from 3, shot 7 of 13. I mean, you have Ant going 12 of 20 on 7 of 13, 37. Perk, you mentioned he had 24 in the first. I believe he had 23 in the first quarter. He didn't score in the second.
Look,
Anthony Edwards, but I'm just talking about Julius in general.
Let me say this. That's the growth of Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards got into his Aaliyah bag after game 1. He sent Julius a 4-page letter. Okay. Did you hear his remarks? What he said at shoot around before game 2? He told Julius, he said, it's not on us to adjust. It's not on you to adjust to us. It's on us to adjust to you. That was growth. And then what happened in that game when they played Sacramento? Anthony Edwards said, you know what, big fella? Go out there in that first half and we're going to let you cook. I'm going to let you cook in that first half. I think Julius had 22 in that first half. And then they went on to win the game in Sacramento. Then they won the next game. And all of a sudden, that leadership, that energy, now we're seeing Julius Randle play with passion. We saw him dive when Anthony Edwards got hurt in the first half, I believe it was, maybe in the third quarter, when Julius went for the steal, dove on the floor for the loose ball, ripped it out of his hands. Like, that's the energy you want, but it came from Anthony Edwards. Look, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be just fine. And Julius Randle is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. I would never discredit him or knock him. I've always been a fan of his. He was a guy he's been a guy that has shown us in the 82 games that he could lead a team to the playoffs. He could average 20 and 10, but he looks real cozy and real comfortable right now. And I got to give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards in the growth of that young, old soul.
Oh, there's my
Next.
Hey, what's up, nephew?
Phoenix.
What's up?
Look how skinny you got. Dang, dog. Your dad got you running?
What's up? There's 3
Yeah.
bobbleheads. 3 bobbleheads. What up? Go. We're on TV.
Really?
No.
Peace.
We know
I'll get there in a bit.
we know they didn't get that hair from you.
No. Just their trust funds. Just their trust fund.
Oh, my Lord.
I cannot.
Hey, I think this. It's early, but this is our job to let's not look at the future, or let's look at the future. Sorry. I don't know if Julius Randle does amazing, that Julius and Ant Edwards consistently can do well and win a game like Giannis and Dame. I think it's going to take them a while, and I don't know if it's going to work. It doesn't look like it's easy. It's like
repeat what you just said.
Ant goes off, and then he goes, oh. Ant goes off, and then he goes, here, you go.
Repeat
he
what
doesn't
you
even
just
score.
said. Shannon, repeat what you just said. You don't think that
I said I don't think Ant and Julius are going to work like Dame and Giannis aren't working.
Dame
I
and
just don't
Giannis
think
ain't
it's
working shit. What is Dame and Giannis working?
He's saying they're not. He's saying
That's
they're,
what I'm saying,
they're
they're not.
My fault. I
I
didn't
just
know
think
that.
Drive-through
My
you're
bad.
sitting in.
Okay, so like when Steph would get hot, he could flick it off to Clay, and Clay would get hot for 9 or 12 points, and then Steph would go, and that rhythm was moving. Or like even when KD was there, they still had a rhythm. When Braun was in Miami, they'd have a rhythm. Now, yes, it's early. I understand that. I don't know if when you have a guy like Julius who brings the ball up to court and a guy like Ant who brings the ball up to court, they take your turn, my turn. And then if they're not in the action, Ant is dedicated to the defensive end, but that's a lot to ask from him. That's a lot. You get 30 in a quarter, and then now you're guarding Luka. You can't. Who does that? There's only one guy who does that. It's AD.
Shannon, I would be careful with that because I learned from saying that. What you're saying is two guys that are ball dominant can't coexist. Well, we watched it happen with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Long as you surround them with the right
Neither one
pieces.
is the point guard. They're playing with Drew Holiday and Derek White. They all move. Their system is built on that.
That's what I said. You have to surround them with the right pieces.
Minnesota and Milwaukee, there's not enough pieces in the league. And with the apron and all this, they don't have that. Boston is setting an example. But Minnesota wanted to play a specific game. Neither Julius Randle or Ant Edwards trust Mike Conley in his age to be a point guard for them. Look at, he don't bring the ball up to court.
But Rich, you
know who he is?
Go ahead. You guys get after it.
So Shannon, you said it's not. See, and I get tired of people saying that. Like, oh, it's not enough people in the league. You got the first apron, you got the second apron, you got the cooking apron, you got all these fucking aprons. But all I saw this offseason was people go out and go big fish hunting. And what they did, I saw Philly go get Paul George, and everybody kept telling me about aprons. I watched New York go get Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, and people still talking about second and third aprons. I'm watching teams load it up still and going out and get big pieces to what they're trying to do.
Kirk, not every team got Gobert for $300 million. Not every team. Like you let Slow-Mo go. He could have been your real point guard. You could have started 6'6", 6'9", 6'8", 7 foot, 6'8", 6'7", and he would have been your point guard. They don't play traditional basketball. Like, I just don't know if they believe in, hey, let me run this action or let me run action. How many assists did Mike Conley have?
I think they're trying.
Jones, maybe.
Wait, boys, guys. And I'll let Allie redirect us. We're not going to sit here and argue about the success of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Mike Conley bringing up the ball. It's game 4. They have to work out. It's a new team. Have we seen Julius Randle's numbers? Channing, everyone has their opinions. Totally. He's an impact player. He's an all-NBA player. He's looking like an all-NBA player. They're 4 games in. They lost to who did they lose to tonight? They lost to Dallas. So, like, Dallas is the Western comp. Like, you lose that game, Dallas, they're going to be in the mix.
Right.
The only thing I'll say about Minnesota is they're going to look different and win different than they did with Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
So if you're trying to compare Julius Randle and Karl Anthony Towns and how they won to this, no, they're going to win differently. That's just because they're going to have to play differently. And that's what Ant was talking about. It's like, no, we have to adjust to him. How do we maximize this all-NBA player versus telling an all-NBA player, hey, we were in, the conference finals. You got to figure out how to match up with us. Well, that would be stupid. That would be stupid to say that. Just like Perk said, he's like, that's growth and maturity. He's like, I see this dude that's been a 2-time all-NBA. How can I maximize that? And that takes time. Everything here we're talking about how they look, we'll know who they are in 15 games. Every team in the league will have a much better idea in 10, 15 games. That's called a sample size, people.
I agree with Joe Mama. This brings me back to the Western Conference Finals. Mavs beat the Wolves, and 90% of the analysis is all about the Wolves. I don't know why we like to do that, but I do want to bring up the Mavs.
Dallas makes sense. Dallas makes since.
It's
That's
not
what.
fun to talk about the cool shit. I get it. Let's talk
It's
about
easy.
the cool
Give
shit.
it to Luka, who's a point guard. You lob or you kick it to shooters. It's that easy. It's that easy.
And wasn't
they've
it
been
funny
winning it.
that like a short year ago, people said that they would not be able to work out at
Oh,
all?
Kyrie and Luka wouldn't be able
Kyrie
to
and
work.
Luka? Yeah.
Jason Tatum, and then now Channing over here doing the same old bull.
Well, hey, I'm a die on this island. I'm gonna be 1 for 3.
Well, you knew
You're gonna keep
Shannon
saying
was,
it till you get it right. You're
you
gonna keep saying it. See, I told y'all. I told you.
You know Shannon was full of BS when he had to fake his background. You know what I'm saying? I came in authentic. At least I came in authentic. At least I let the people know. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting in the
you gonna
parking
see
lot.
the couch. Now you gonna see the couch. No.
What impresses you? Oh my God. What impresses you guys about Dallas right now? I mean, you had Luka, as I mentioned, he went 24. His first three, by the way, was that 33 footer. He was 0 for 7 from 3 until he hit that with a minute to go. The fact that Clay only had to score 7, or the fact that Kyrie, 25 of his 35 came in the second half alone. Just the position Dallas is in right now.
Dallas looks just like Boston. We're starting somewhat where we left off. We got our guys here. Clay's an easy add because the minute he gets on the floor, the space just looks different. Channing was talking about that back screen lob, and that's because DiVincenzo is guarding Clay, and you're not to leave Clay. So when he sets that back screen, there's no help on the lob. So they're going to get that a few times this year just because that's what Clay does. Clay makes it so tough for you to leave. But Channing said Dallas makes sense. They have their system. They have their coaching. Lively's another year in. Gafford has now been familiar because he got there at the deadline. So their team makes sense. So they're starting off the season being like, we know our roles. We know what we got to do. Incorporating Clay is very different than incorporating Julius Randle. Your expectations of what you want from Julius Randle are different than what. So incorporating an all-NBA player, incorporating a high-level player like Clay, very, very different. So I think Dallas just looks like they're starting where they went. We know our systems, we know our defense, we know our expectations, and then you get to build on that versus teams that are constantly trying to integrate new people. OKC, they look like they're building off of what they did. And they added Alex Caruso. Obviously, Hartenstein is not playing yet. But it's like that's just an easier way to be like, hey, we got 9 of our 10 guys back. Let's hit the ground running. And so when I look at Dallas, they look seamless. As the season progresses, you know, they gotta keep pushing because they know they can get back to the NBA Finals. But what they did this year won't work. Or what they did last year won't work to beat Boston. Adding Clay just won't do that. You have to have a different set of offense to get more corner threes, to do all that stuff, and that's what the season's for.
Let's pull the lens out. I want to talk about the comment that you made earlier, Rich, but first I'm going to address something in the comments and shout out my girl, Allie LaForce. Melvin, Stubbs, and DJ, they're confused. They think I have a stunt double. They want to know why I'm on here and on TNT. They're really confused. It's Allie LaForce. She's also blonde. She's also from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio. I get it. Our names are both Allie. It's fine. We get confused a lot. But that's Allie.
Allie LaForce is this big? Allie Clifton
just go there, Just
no,
go.
Allie LaForce.
I would reference a size thing more than anything, like a height.
That's what I'm saying. Allie LaForce is 5'2". Allie Clifton is 6'4".
You said big. You said big. That's
It's
just
okay.
My bad. Sorry. Whatever you identify with is fine.
This is why I love you. Joe Mama grinded out a tough win. They used to lose games when Luka's shot wasn't falling.
Yeah, but they didn't have Kyrie and Klay Thompson when those games were happening. Those few years, they didn't have that.
We're going to dive into, we have a road trip and recording in the morning too, so I want to kind of save it for that. But Perk, I feel like across X, if we pull out the microscope and just talk about the NBA in general right now, what was your take on Milwaukee since you guys brought up Giannis and Dame?
Oh, I'm a hater. If they do well, I will buy a Dame Lillard jersey for my kids, but I can't do it.
Milwaukee should be ashamed of themselves. All across the board. I love Doc Rivers. That's my guy and Butu brother. They have zero leadership. And you know how you could tell a team that has a leader in the locker room. I just watch the little things like the bench. What's going on the bench when you're not in the game? Is the bench up? Is they cheering? Is they fired up for their teammates? I can't recall if I ever seen more than probably 5 or 6 times Giannis and Dame show any type of emotions towards each other, a chest bump or anything. Like, why is there synergy there? That's a problem for me. Guys are having great seasons thus far individually, but it's not resulting into wins. And here's the thing. When a guy goes out and scores 30, that don't mean nothing to me, a damn thing. The 30 is the new 20. Guys are going to get that every single night. In order for Milwaukee, especially, we don't know when Chris Middleton is coming back. We don't know if he's going to be healthy. He had 2 ankle surgeries, right? So you don't know if he's going to come back. In order to win at a high level in the league, you got to have a third guy that is capable offensively to go out there and get you buckets. Who is that guy? Is it Bobby Portis? And I love Bobby Portis, but is he enough? Right? Is he enough? No. And then you lose Patrick Beverly, right? Not just what Patrick Beverly, not what he bring, but he was like the heart and soul. Like, think about this for a second. I knew they was gonna be in trouble, and I know it's 4 games in the season, but you could tell when something is not there. Last year, Dame was going through whatever off the court issues he had, missing his family or whatever the case may be, and it was times that he said he felt lonely. Right?
Damn.
Oh, he said that. It's on record. Coming into the season, they asked him, "Hey, before camp, how many times did you and Giannis connect in the offseason and work out?" They was like, none. Giannis was like, none. I was like, oh, shit. Like, no, like in August, you couldn't find a way to do like a mini camp. Like, it's no leadership in this shows, right? It's like, here go my turn, your turn. So how can they master the 2-man game? They can't. So you're going to see Giannis getting into his bag. You're going to see Dame getting into his bag. Look, the Bucks are not going anywhere. That's just like period, point blank. They're not going anywhere. They can't make noise. I think they're probably the 5th best team in the Eastern Conference, maybe 6.
Ooh.
I would take Boston.
Someone said Dame didn't go to Giannis's wedding.
I mean, I'm not getting into that, but I would take Boston.
There was probably no booze at that wedding.
I would take Boston, the Cavs, the Knicks, Philly, the
Orlando.
Magic, the Magic, and I don't know about the Pacers. We could dive into that later. I think they're going to be the team that falls off like no limit. Just being honest, I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Ooh,
as An and Das Brown said, they wouldn't fire Doc, would they?
No, they can't. They paying 3 coaches already.
Yeah, they got Bud, Griff, and Doc. Yeah, they can't even do that. They said,
you know what's crazy?
Holiday was at the wedding. Even Drew Holiday was at Giannis's wedding. I don't know. I'm not getting into all that.
Hey.
Macmillan, I don't. You look. I can confirm. No, they're not. Going to people's wedding is not at this. But I will say this, and one of the things that I will say, when Dame was away from his family, didn't have his kids, and so we interviewed him before the first game, and he was like, "Man, I would come home and like my brother." In Portland, my mom would be right down the street. My brother and his 3 kids would be there. And I would come home and there'd be 6 kids running around and this. And it was just always like, that's what he knew for the 11, 12 years. He goes, I go to Milwaukee and I turn on the light and there's nobody in my house. And that's tough, man. Like for a guy that had, superstar, had 3 homes, had his entire family, made a home in Portland and goes to Milwaukee. It's not so much that the basketball, but it's like, man, when am I going to see my kids? Man, there's nobody around. I'm used to a routine. So I believe that Giannis or that Dame will have a better season. But also to me, what have you done in the off season? Whether it's like, hey, did we do a mini camp? Did we get together? Did we just hang out and chill, just get to know each other? Because at the end of the day, you're going to get into a fire moment. And if you're not together as a group, then that's when it all crumbles. If you're in the fire, but you guys have been connected, you've worked out, you've gone to dinners, you've supported each other, you've been there, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go and watch our friends' kids playing volleyball games, just showing that, like, yo, when this shit gets tough, I'm gonna be there. And if you're just two separate entities that are moving that way, you're never gonna be to get together. So I think it's still the beginning. Again, it's a few games. They beat Philly. They beat Philly without Embiid, without that. They beat Philly and then have lost their next 3 games. That's not fun.
I just think in that situation, I think of myself, right? If that's your leader, why didn't nobody reach out to Dame or be boys with Dame and like lift him up, right?
But Pat Connaughton was there. He got boys there. He got homies there. Pat Connaughton was with them. Pat Connaughton facilitated that, like the Giannis thing. So I'm saying he's got some people.
But that gotta feel. Hey, let's be 100%. That gotta feel weird. That like even when
let's just be 100. You don't have to put.
Let's be 100. Yeah, that doesn't. Let's be 100, Richard. That don't feel good. If I'm going to your city, through a trade, and I don't open up the city for you as my partner, as my guy who's going to win, what kind of message does that send? My friends are your friends. My house is your house. And then if stuff goes weird, it goes weird. Because the difference between them and Jason Tatum and Brown is they're rookies figuring themselves out together, right? And they're doing this together on the same level. Giannis and Dame climbed that ladder together, or not together, different in different cities, and came with their own backpack of accolades. When I look at this team, when things go wrong, they look at each other like, well, come on, fix it. Or you fix it. And what's crazy, do you know how much this team relies on Brook Lopez? Brook Lopez, I did a thing yesterday on NBA TV or 2 nights ago, whenever they played. Brook Lopez left the game for 6 minutes. They went down 12.
Wow.
They went down 12 in 6 minutes like this because Giannis is not, they just move Giannis to the top. Dame's he's not big enough to play defense. Gary Trent Jr. small. You know, like who else they got? Bobby Portis is not a stopper. They don't have a stopper. And everyone's like, okay, cool. Giannis, you're going to go get these fouls. We're just going to take it. And you give up the most threes in the league. So we're just going to
they got some, Chang, to your point, they got some things. Somebody was like, why did he ask for a trade if he misses his family? Because it wasn't so much that he didn't really want to leave Dame. And Dame didn't want to leave. But their team was not heading in a direction. When you are a superstar, and then the team is like, we're going to go rebuild, and I'm 32 years old. It wasn't like I want out of here. It was like, hey, I have 4 or 5 years left to win a championship. That's not the window. When they couldn't trade Scoot Henderson to bring in a quality player to make the team good, it just showed we were in a different timeline. That is all that meant. He wasn't like, I want to get out of here. Dame did not.
He loves Portland.
He loves Portland.
He loves Portland. He runs Portland.
And people,
they love him.
And be clear, just to get the timeline right, he got traded like 3 days before training camp. You can't move families, kids out of school, all this other stuff. It's just too much of a task. It'd be different if you got traded in June. You can get settled. You get traded 2 days before camp starts. There is no getting settled.
No.
This just turned into a great conversation, but we're going to run it all back tomorrow.
Let's go. We got Cavs tomorrow. We got Lakers tomorrow. We got to talk about the Nuggets.
We need to talk about how you talked about the West and only.
How about the? Let's just Clippers. I mean, I didn't believe. I did not believe.
Bad teams don't know they're bad teams in 10 games.
I'm sorry. What?
Clippers
I said bad teams don't know they're bad.
Clippers are not that bad.
No, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. Clippers are pretty good. They got talent.
Top 8.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna hash all this out tomorrow. We'll have a new episode dropping Thursday. That's the Game of the Week YouTube Live for this week. Be sure to subscribe to the Road Trippin' YouTube channel so you won't miss anything. We loved interacting with all of you. So we will see you next week.
I like interjecting with a few.
Xavier Delaney. Yes, I am very funny.
Right.